and demo, kind of like recreating the homebrew computer club vibe. We're still letting more people in, so let's get started in like 5 minutes. But
for serious applications. And so the idea that Guardrails tries to solve is how do you add a layer of reliability, try to avoid things like hallucinations, falsehoods, also try to make sure it's not like racist in the text that it's printing out, if it's generating code, that the code is bug-free, etc. So Guardrails is an open source package that kind of deals with all of those issues. What I'm going to be demoing today is this cool thing that we just added yesterday, which is that if you have a Pydantic model and you want like data that your LLM generates to fit into that Pydantic model, how do you kind of make sure that that can happen? And so what we'll kind of be seeing is that the language model kind of screws up, and then automatically the package corrects itself and is able to kind of make sure that you get something that you're happy with.
I'm not going to bore you with that. I wanted to very briefly sort of demo or talk about our Scroll Prize today.
For real, right? First of all, the reason why I'm putting this is just because like Stanford did that, and actually Stanford's training code is wrong. Like there's a lot in there that they've kind of like held back. But anyway, alpacas are South American animals,
Like videos and like cool music videos in particular. I'll tell you about it after. We're running a contest for the best music video made from Herculean capitalized text, or like basically it's like a model fine tune that you want to apply to your prompts to give you a certain effect or like a style for the video. And then from there, you're gonna probably want to pick a starting frame, because if you don't, it'll be really random. And you might make a video and not know what's coming up. So we went ahead for the one that Will cooked up. We picked a starting frame. And you can just keep generating as many as you want until you get one that you like. But now that we have one, we can go ahead and pick audio. So we preloaded a song into there. And we separated out the audio channels. It's all done through the app. And you can, in the next step, pick an audio channel and pick a motion effect. So this
is a tool that we've been working on for a few months now. It's an LLM-powered dev tool. As you can see, it lives inside your IDE. And the idea here is, our sort of long-term vision is we want to automate a lot of the development process. But what we figured out, to be able to do this to start with, is that first, you need really good code retrieval. When we first started, which was sort of June of last year, we kind of accept a pay request, doesn't require any authentication. So first of all, it will go ahead and it will call our search endpoint. There is a bug where we're not showing a loading indicator, but it calls our search endpoint, and you can see that it outputs answers based on what your code does. One of the main things we want to be able to search for is for code's functionality, and that's one of the things that's really lacking in a lot of code search solutions right now. So you can see, first of all, we asked it, where is that thing? At the bottom, it's also explained to us, at the very bottom, this endpoint requires authentication, which is part of our question. So, as it's a chatbot, of course we can do follow-ups. That's one of the cool things. So if Sam copies our next example, we can then put in, based on that output, okay, so where is that route then calling front end? It will go ahead and it will figure out where that route.
We give our customers, marketers and designers, more control over their composition of products and digital assets so that they can communicate their brand's visual identity in a way that aligns with their style guides and also their customers' unique needs. So I'm called props. You can drag in props into the canvas to provide better control over your composition. So here I just dragged in a platform. I'll drag in a flower to sort of accessorize it. And not only that, but you can adjust the coloring of the props so that they reflect your brand's style. So I'm going to make this orange, and I'm going to make the platform more of a peach, I suppose. Cool. So it automatically updates the prompt when you drag in the props. You can adjust the prompt. So I'm going to say in front of soft shadows. And I'm going to click generate. And basically, the outline will inform the composition of what you're generating, and all the lighting and the shadows are consistent.
Let's just remove all the previous assets, and we can just like drag in the existing composition and add our product, which is a whiskey bottle, like right here, and make sure it plays on top of the existing element, of course. But adjust the prompt on top of a rock. Just a few rocks. And yeah, it should just generate images just based on this composition while accounting for the lighting difference of your original product and maybe adjusting the surrounding element.
You want to know what's like the neighborhood I live in, right? What's the murder rate? How much crime there is? What's the racial diversity? Is it diverse enough? All these different things. In fact, sometimes you're at a dinner table and you want to know what's the fanciest neighborhood in Houston, right? So how do we convert those natural language queries into something you can then get objective answers to? And kind of visualizing the different races for each of the zip code, it seems like, and what's the distribution? So like what's the most diverse neighborhood, right? And you want to try adding like income to it? Give me
This question gives some basic information and it's like, hey, this is my annual income and I live in California and you file the taxes for me. It gave us a little bit of information about what we need to do, and so it kind of pointing us in different directions. So the next version of TaxGPT will be able to automate those taxes, and this is something. Proof of concept is something like this, that user asks the tax form, we respond with form, and they can upload the form, and we are using the OCR to read the data on the forms, show the use data for their